say what I have to say on the bill, allow me, Honorable Speaker, also to express my disappointment with the shooting that just happened. I had not seen that video. I've just watched that video. It's very unfortunate. And as we were saying earlier, our police officers must exercise restraint even as they conduct their work, and appreciate that they are dealing with fellow human beings so that we do not lose limb or lives, even with the demonstrations that people are carrying on with. Honorable Speaker, moving on, allow me, Honorable Speaker, first to commend the committee led by the Honorable Kimani and all the other 14 members of that committee, including CPA Julius Ruto, who doubts whether I am aware that the committee is well professionalized. You know, this Julius doesn't know that I was a CPA when he was still in high school. Yes, I qualified as a CPA when Julius was still in high school, and I think the chair of the committee must have been in primary school. In 1999, Honorable Speaker, that's when I qualified as a CPA. While still as a university, studying as a university student, I was a fully qualified CPA, long before I graduated from the University of Nairobi. Honorable Speaker, a lot has been said of this bill by the chair, and therefore on to issues that will sound repetitive. Because, Honorable Speaker, over the last 2 years, the finance bill in this country has been christened as a bill that is there to punish Kenyans, to punish them with what has been called overtaxation, Honorable Speaker, and make Kenyans poorer. And when I listened to the chair move, I couldn't resist recalling the events of June last year, and actually from April of last year, the campaign that was there of disinformation and misinformation. Honorable Speaker, you remember again in April this year, the same campaign began. And the chair has alluded to it, that a lot of negativity has been spread about the finance bill. And there are many Kenyans out there who believe that the finance bill is a tool to punish them or a tool to make them poorer. But, Honorable Speaker, allow me to just point out that the finance bill also serves as a tool to improve the lives of the people and not necessarily to punish them. And I'll just highlight a few things, Honorable Speaker, beginning with some of the provisions that have been alluded to on the Income Tax Act, Honorable Speaker. For those who have cared to look at this report, because again, as the chair has said, very many people rush to comment on the finance bill without even having read what is contained in that finance bill, or even seeking to get help from those who have read it to be able to interpret what is provided for. Honorable Speaker, if you look at the Income Tax Act, for instance, there is a proposal to increase the tax-free cash benefit, or what are per diems that are paid to employees, both in the private and public sector, from 2,000 shillings to 10,000 shillings per night. Therefore, Honorable Speaker, for those of you who enjoy per diems when you work out of your station, including members of parliament, you are only allowed a tax-free amount of up to 2,000 shillings. Now you can enjoy a tax-free per diem of up to 10,000 shillings. Meaning if you're out of your station for 30 days and you are paid 300,000 shillings, that will be tax-free, Honorable Speaker. Is a direct benefit to employees and workers in our country. Remember, Honorable Speaker, in our 2024 bill, which was demonized with disinformation, there was a proposal which we later passed in December. But Kenyans, again, because they never paid attention, never got to know that also touching on non-cash benefits. I've spoken about cash benefits. Non-cash benefits, for instance, there are many people who are working in factories, in industrial area, who get non-cash benefits, probably in allowance, things like lunch, which is a non-cash benefit, or free transport, and you are taxed for it. And we had elevated that, Honorable Speaker, last year from 36,000 shillings to 60,000 shillings. that now non-cash benefits you enjoy up to 60,000 shillings, which is equivalent to about 5,000 shillings. If your employer is facilitating you with company transport or company lunch, up to 5,000 shillings a month is tax-free. Per diem, up to 300,000 shillings or 10,000 shillings a day is tax-free. Honorable Speaker, moving on again on the Income Tax Act, there's a tax relief that has been introduced on mortgage interest on residential home construction. Again, Honorable Speaker, in our 2024 bill, we had a tax deduction that we moved on interest that you pay on purchase of a house from 300,000, and we upped that to 360,000 shillings. That fell with the finance bill of 2024. When we did the tax amendment laws in December, to the benefit of Kenyans, we reintroduced that particular provision, and today Kenyans can enjoy tax-free tax reliefs on mortgage interest up to 360,000 shillings, up from 300,000 shillings. That means for every 30,000 shillings that you pay as interest on your mortgage, you don't pay tax on it, or you can claim tax against it. And I can see the Honorable Kwenya nodding because I know he's enjoying a mortgage that he's paying heavily from the National Assembly. Now, Honorable Speaker, again, even for us as members of Parliament and many other Kenyans who choose not to take a mortgage to go and buy a complete unit of a house and choose to take a mortgage facility and construct their own house, they will be able to enjoy the same benefit of up to 30,000 shillings per month or 360,000 shillings a year. Therefore, Kenyans who are borrowing mortgage facilities from their SACCOs, from banks, from mortgage finance companies, Honorable Speaker, will now be able to benefit this. Again, as I said, including us, because I know, Honorable Speaker, like now this year, this current Parliament, when I took my mortgage, I didn't buy a house. I sought to renovate an existing house, Honorable Speaker, or reconstruct a house. And I've been paying heavily interest of up to about 180,000 shillings a month. Now I can enjoy tax-free up to 360,000 a year. Honorable Speaker, if you look at other provisions on pay as you earn, Honorable Speaker, again, many Kenyans have been overtaxed, largely because on account of their employers or the people who pay them, the employers not allowing them to claim all the deductible expenses, Honorable Speaker, that are deductible ahead of paying pay as you earn. And now this bill, Honorable Speaker, I can't remember in one of the clauses, is making it now mandatory for employers to apply correctly all the deductions that may occasion such overtaxation, and therefore employees will not end up requesting or looking for tax refunds from KRA, because many of them have to wait until when they are doing their tax returns at the end of June or in the course of June to be able to claim tax refunds. Now that will be checked, Honorable Speaker, with now this particular provision that allows all deductions and exemptions and tax reliefs that previously were not being claimed to be now be claimed ahead of paying your pay as you earn. This also, Honorable Speaker, will ease the tax burden, not only on Kenyans, but also reduce the workload on Kenyans. Honorable Speaker, another important aspect is advanced pricing agreements that are contained in this particular bill relating to multinationals and that are operating in the country or have permanent establishments in Kenya, and in their pricing transactions between them and related entities, that you can now have an advanced pricing agreement between a multinational and its subsidiary, if that multinational is operating in Kenya, to create certainty, Honorable Speaker. And this CPAs here will tell you one of the cardinal principles of taxation is certainty, so that you know at what pricing levels you'll be able to claim between a parent company or a multinational and its subsidiary here or outside the country. Honorable Speaker, there is also an incentive on the capping of carry. Well, not necessarily an incentive, Honorable Speaker, but you realize many businesses, Honorable Speaker, and I hear the chair alluded to it, are allowed to carry on their losses. When you make a loss, or 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, up to 5 years, you are allowed to carry forward a loss. set them against your future income, Honorable Speaker, or your future profits, not profits, Honorable Speaker, but taxes. And therefore, the bill had proposed to limit this to a 5-year period, that if you make losses for a period of 5 years, year in, year out, you can continue carrying forward those losses. But at the end of 5 years, then you are stopped, or you are stopped from claiming against your tax obligations any losses that you incur. But as the chair has said, the committee, Honorable Speaker, and it's important because Kenyans were asking last year, do these parliamentarians ever listen to us? And you remember we were accused of not listening. But Honorable Speaker, it is actually Kenyans that were not listening to Parliament. Because last year when the bill came to this House, the chair went through the rigorous process that they have gone through today. Public participation, proposed amendments to the bill, like he is saying today. And I'm saying this because he has just said this particular provision is one of the provisions that elicited a lot of reactions from Kenyans when they came through public participation. And I must commend the committee because they did not just do public participation in Nairobi. They went to other counties. I saw from their report, I see they went to Kwale, they went to Migori, they went to Nandi, they went to Busia, Trans Nzoia, and Mombasa counties, Kilifi, and that which they were doing in Nairobi. And across all these counties, part of the provisions that elicited a lot of reactions from Kenyans was that particular provision to stop Kenyans from carrying forward losses. The committee, in cognizance of the issues that were raised by Kenyans, again, like last year, is proposing that we amend and allow that period on application to be carried forward beyond the 5 years. Therefore, if you have a business that you set up today, you make losses for 5 years, and the 6th year, you think you still qualify to claim against your future tax obligations, on application to the Cabinet Secretary in charge of the National Treasury, you will be allowed for a further period of 5 years, Honorable Speaker. That, again, is to check the abuse of that process, because there are people who make money, make profits, but continue claiming or using tax avoidance measures to claim their losses into perpetuity, Honorable Speaker. Therefore, even with the capping of 5 years, again, that can be extended. Honorable Speaker, there was also the issue of the income tax exemptions for public and private sector gratuity, Honorable Speaker. Again, last year, we had this provision in the finance bill. When Kenyans say, don't amend, reject, it was rejected. But again, in the tax amendment laws of 2024, we brought in the provision to allow any person who enjoys gratuity, whether you're in the private or public sectors, Honorable Speaker, and now the bill is clarifying that it is retirees or people who are getting gratuity, both from the private or public sectors, Honorable Speaker, to be able to enjoy exemption on income tax. Therefore, whatever gratuity you paid, you will not pay income tax on it. Again, putting money back to the pockets of our retirees or people who are ending their contractual work, for those who work on contracts, Honorable Speaker, like members of Parliament and others who have a 5-year tenure. And this ensures, Honorable Speaker, that retirees keep more of their gratuity, supporting their financial security and dignity even beyond their working life, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker.
Add the majority leader 2 minutes.
Honorable Speaker, I'm mentioning these things because they are important. Because of the campaign of misinformation and disinformation that the chair alluded to, Kenyans are made to believe that there is nothing in the finance bill to benefit them. Today, Honorable Speaker, in conclusion, there are tax incentives that we put again in the tax amendment laws of 2024, or the Tax Amendment Act of 2024, which had been declined in the finance bill of 2024. Again, because of the campaign of misinformation, Kenyans did not know that these are incentives that were coming to help them to create jobs for our young people, Honorable Speaker. Some of these incentives, Honorable Speaker, spoke to the amount of money. For instance, in the 2024 Tax Laws Amendment Act, we reduce the rate of capital gains tax from 15% to 5% for firms that are certified by the Nairobi International Financial Center Authority, and further reduce the threshold of investments that qualify for the lower rate from 5 billion, an investment of 5 billion down to 3 billion. This year, again, Honorable Speaker, the committee and the bill is proposing that for companies that invest 3 billion in new capital, within the first 3 years, they will enjoy a reduced corporate tax rate of 15% for the first 10 years and 20% for the next 10 years. And to qualify, these companies must have 70% Kenyan senior management employees. And for regional headquarters, 60% of senior management must be Kenyans, to sensitize multinationals and companies that are investing those huge amounts in Kenya to employ Kenyans, even in senior management. Also, Honorable Speaker, for startups that are certified by the Nairobi International Financial Center Authority, they will benefit from a lower tax rate of 15% for the first 3 years and 20% for the next 4 years to support their earlier growth. This, again, as I said, is to support the growth of new industry, new investments that will create jobs for our young Kenyans, Honorable Speaker. And therefore, even as people incite others out there, it is important that, I thought it was important, Honorable Speaker, not to be very technical, but just to highlight a few of the good things, very good provisions that are in this bill, some which were lost last year because of the misinformation, and plead with Kenyans, as I congratulate the young in turn, and plead with the management of the Parliament, led by the Speaker himself as the chair of the Parliamentary Service Commission, to consider when this young man, Alan Kimani, graduates from his college, to consider hiring him permanently as a staff of this Parliament, Honorable Speaker, because it is such genius, Honorable Speaker, such innovative young Kenyans who are utilizing their intellect for the benefit of Kenyans, not utilizing their time on social media to demonize, disinform, misinform other Kenyans, Honorable Speaker. The platform and the QR code that this young man created, as you have heard, enable Parliament as an institution to be able to engage more meaningfully with Kenyans. Unlike the other lady, Honorable Speaker, who was arrested, can't remember her name, for creating a platform that was, one, disinforming Kenyans.
Add him 1 minute.
Honorable Speaker, you need to inform the Honorable Member for Kitui Central that I am not this guy. I am the member for Kikuyu. My name is Kimani Ichungwah.
Honorable.
And the leader of majority. More senior than Kalonzo Musyoka today. Honorable Speaker, I was saying that lady who had created a platform that simply at the click of a button was sending a lot of emails to the parliamentary website, Honorable Speaker, to clog the system and stop Kenyans from giving valid views. I must congratulate Mr. Alan Kimani, a young Kenyan, very innovative and a genius. And I plead with the Parliamentary Service Commission at the right time to consider him. So that those who are fond of praising young people in this country and stratifying them into generations, like Makali Mulu's party leader, to know that it is the intellect of such young people that you need to harp on. Because some of those people, even praising those young people and stratifying them into generations, don't have children in the generations that they keep talking about in political rallies. They don't even understand or comprehend the kind of intellect that these young people have that are helping Kenya.
Yeah, the Honorable David Boni.